Okay, welcome to our webinar tonight called Connecting with Your Tweens and Teens, brought to you by Attachment Parenting Canada. So my name is Judy Arnall, and I'm a certified Canadian Family Life Educator. I'm certified in the brain story, and I have been teaching child development for the last 27 years. Oh my gosh, it's so and I'm a bit of an idealist in that I know what the research says, I know what the brain development, the latest evidence says, but I don't always apply it in my own family. I'm also a bit of a realist too. I have 5 kids that currently range in age right now at 17, 21, 25, 27, and 28. So I have 4 boys and a princess in the middle. And I think what made our teen years so easy. Now, it is easy, but there are blips. But I like the teen years the best because it's so nice to be able to talk to kids and negotiate. And we have never, ever punished our kids. That is a major feature of attachment parenting, is to practice positive discipline. So we have never taken away a cell phone. We have never removed a door from the room, aka Dr. Phil. We have never given them timeouts or grounded, and we have never taken away their electronics. And what we did instead, because you're sitting there going, okay, what did you do? We problem solved everything with them. That is what we did. Sometimes it was time consuming. Sometimes it was the last thing I wanted to do in a very busy and tiring day, but it pays off because now they have that skill to problem solve with their partners, their teachers, their bosses, the people they work with, and even Canada Revenue. So that's a good thing. So here they are now. 3 of them have already graduated university. One is in university, and my last one here, my baby, he's 17 and working his way through a self-directed high school program. I teach parent effectiveness training. Some of the listening skills are from PET, and I teach the Alberta Health Services Terrific Toddlers because those are great programs. And I got certified this summer in 2 new courses. The Attached at the Heart parenting program, which, stay tuned, we're going to be offering that through Attachment Parenting Canada in the new year. Yay! And also the Growing Brain from Birth to Age 5. That's a really good certification if you are in the field and work with parents and young children. I've written 5 books. Discipline Without Distress is how to raise your kids without punishment and what to do instead. And then a lot of parents would say to me, well, how do I get to there? I'm dealing with my anger and kids' anger. How do I get there? So I wrote a book called Parenting with Patience, which is all about how you can get a grip and how you can handle your angry children from any age toddlers to teens. Also some new books. I've written the book Unschooling to University, and that is selling like hotcakes. I guess everybody's wants some alternatives to school. And our new book, Attachment Parenting Tips, Raising Toddlers to Teen, is for most of you, you're probably beyond that because your one big tool right now is problem solving. So this was more raising kids from ages 1 to about age 12. And it's also available as an ebook. So you can this is what it looks like on your phone. You can just click one of these links and it takes you to a whole bunch of suggestions. I put it together because I've been doing parenting groups for about 23 years, and everybody has such good ideas, things they tried, and I wanted to capture them into a book. So there's no theory, there's no opinions, it's just tips. And a portion goes to support our organization. Now, parenting is a hard job. I think you guys are amazing. You should have a tip jar on your kitchen table. I put one in my laundry room once, and I put a little $50 bill in there to, let everyone know how much they should be tipping me. And I didn't get much, so I don't do laundry anymore in my house. This is copyrighted, so we ask that you view it for yourself only and not share it. And the information comes from all these agencies. So our goal for parenting tweens and teens is you want times where it's fun, all the good, no problem times with your teens. And of course, you want to transmit your values. Your children will get about 75% of your values by the time they're 25. And that's really, really good. Some things you should look out for, red flags in the teen years are if your child's skipping school, if they're using drugs or alcohol beyond experimentation. It's quite normal, quite average. About anywhere from 30 to 50% of kids do try substances that you may not approve of, but it's whether they develop a habit and use it regularly is whether it's a problem or not. Promiscuous behavior can be a problem. That may be a red flag to some other things going on. Depression and anxiety tends to erupt a lot more in the teen years. And if kids get into criminal elements, that's also communicating that there are things going on your child needs to talk about. Parenting teens, you got everything you need. The biggest thing you need here is this ear. And thank goodness we have two of them. So you need an ear for listening to them, lots of listening, and you have a brain to help them problem solve, and you have a body to keep up that touch and hugs, and to model what a sensible adult should be doing. They're watching you still quite a lot. Now, in our digital world, it's a lot harder to control kids and see where they're going. So we can no longer control, but we need to teach kids self-control. And that's definitely changed in the last 20, 30 years from our parenting, where they kind of relied on the neighborhood to look out for us. They relied on just supervision. But nowadays, kids are way more attuned to the internet, and parents really do need to trust them. And they also need to let them make mistakes, let them make more decisions. You're in the final third of parenting from 12 to 18. Think about it. And when they're 18, they could be going off to university across the country. And believe me, nobody will talk to you then because of FOIP and privacy. So they are on their own for the first time, and you want to be sure all those good things you've taught them are still having a big influence on them. Control is actually the inverse relationship of influence. Influence is that your voice when your child is not around, or when you're not around your child, that tells them what they should be doing. And it's kind of their conscience too. So your job is to build your influence, and that's why you don't want to punish your kids. So I often ask people, what are the qualities you want in a relationship with your teen? And guaranteed, wherever I go across Canada, across the world, these qualities come up. Usually the ones in the white. Nobody ever really thinks of the one in the yellow, but I do. I think parenting kids has to have some element of fun, or why would we do it? And they really, really are fun. And you can have all these characteristics in your relationship if you want them. Okay, your role as parents is, for younger teens, we're talking maybe, 12 to 14, you're still a big teacher. But for older teens, you're more a mentor. You're kind of that guide on the side. So you let them handle things. You're a sounding board. You let them vent to you. You can help them clarify their thinking, but you do not step in and make things better for them. That's their job. You're the guide on the side. You're an advisor, and you can brainstorm solutions with them, but they have to choose and they have to implement. So that is your role of good influence. And kids are connected to you. They really are. They're your families. They're connected to communities. Um, we always dread the teen years, but really those are the years kids need you the most. They need a sensible adult to bounce things off, not to control them, but to give them their advice and impressions so that they can make good informed decisions. So feel free to share your feelings, your insights, the mistakes you've made, your learnings as a teen. They're soaking it up, but they still want to make their own decisions. So research shows that when parents have teens, they tend to clamp down in that final third of parenting, whereas what they should be doing is opening up control, handing it over to the teen, and letting them make a lot of decisions and mistakes, because they're still quite easy to fix. When kids are away from you in the university years, mistakes can be a little more costly, and you want to make sure they make them earlier. Let's look at what their brain's doing. This is Jean Piaget from years ago, and his outline of cognitive development. Pretty well, he was on the ball still in terms of brain development. Right now, though, what we know, do I have a better picture of the brain? Maybe not. Okay, what we know now is that there is a distinct period from 19 to 25 years called emerging adulthood, and the brain is still developing. What's happening is the nerve cells have a myelin sheath wrapped around the connectors between the dendrites and the axons, and that sheath starts forming more gray matter, gray and more white matter than gray matter, and that's good. It thickens, and that helps the brain make better connections. So this is some characteristics of school-age children. Tween age, we kind of call between 10 and 13. So that period, as kids are starting puberty a little earlier these days. Some girls are beginning menstruation at age 8. Could be the hormones in our food, I don't know. But it's definitely happening earlier, possibly because in North America and Europe and Australia, in countries where we have lots of food and wealth, where our bodies mature faster. So they're becoming much more peer focused in those years. They're growing out of toys. When I say that, I say they're not going to sit down and play Lego anymore, or Barbies or Bionicles. Thank goodness. Because I hate playing Barbies. But, their toys will be the computer, and video games and making memes and blogs, and their creativity really expands in the digital world. Yes, they're developing attitude, but again, like a 2-year-old, they're trying on behaviors to see where it gets them. And that's okay. We have to give our kids space to try out those behaviors, because we're a safe landing spot. We won't punish them, but we can tell them and teach, no, I do not like to be called that name. Try again. And if all else fails, walk away. Just don't be the wind in their sails. Walk away, come back when you're more calm, say it again. No, I won't be called that name. Because really, you teach kids and you teach people how to treat yourself. And you don't have to be nasty and mean. You don't have to punish, but you do have to be firm and say, just teach by saying, and keep modeling how you treat them and other people. They have a lot of worries at this age, that the whole school social climate is changing. It's becoming more important to them. And with that, their bodies are changing, and they're becoming way, way more self-conscious, What you can do at this stage is help them by asking permission before you post anything about them on the internet, respecting their privacy, and asking permission for using their stuff or moving their stuff or throwing out their stuff. So it's just treating your child like the adult they are becoming. If you do, treat them like your partner, like how you would treat your partner, that kind of respect, politeness, but also expect that back. And if you don't get that back, be sure to tell them how they can be that way back. Now, as we're heading into the teenagers, again, I don't think I have that slide in here. The prefrontal cortex from about 13 to age 25 is when their executive function skills are really growing. Executive function is 4 components. It's self-control, focus, their working memory, so remembering things, and coming up with plan B, so their problem-solving abilities. Those are taking a huge leap, and you'll see that really around age 17. We unschoolers who practice self-directed education really notice about age 17, kids become more disciplined in what they want to do and what they want to go for. So it's really amazing. So early teens, 13 to 15, you'll see they're really moody. They're very good sleepers, and that doesn't change until they get jobs when they're 25. They're impulsive. Again, they have that adrenaline in their brain, and they don't quite have the breaks yet of common sense and really good mid-adulthood self-control. They're interested in sexuality and experimentation. Their hormones are raging. They become abstract learners, which means they can think theoretically. They can think about theories and things we can't see, unlike earlier childhood. They can do abstract equations. They can write essays. They can think about religion and death and those big questions. They actually become interested in adult conversations. So this is the time you really can have an awesome family dinner and expect them to sit around the table for 15 minutes to eat and talk, which is really amazing. And having a tidbit of what to talk about every night is really the best part of parenting if you can. Very self-conscious. I remember, oh my gosh, when my kids were teens, they'd be mortified if I went to a store and returned an item or exchanged something or asked for a favor. Just mortified. I remember taking my car to the car wash, and my son had to get out because he was so embarrassed that I would ask that I could run it through again because it missed a few spots. So, and I respect that. That's okay. If he wants to leave the car, that's fine. But I'm not going to change what I do. I'm going to model how you return things because they need to know it. And I'm quite happy because they did learn along the way, and they can return things now too. And peer pressure and bullying peaks in those ages, 13 to 15. Those are probably the hardest ages because that prefrontal cortex is just beginning that leap. And it's the same leap as when kids are from 2 to 3. You know how a 3.5-year-old has a bigger leap than a 2-year-old. Same type of big leap. So late teenagers, 16 to 18, they become a little more academically serious because a lot of their friends are going off to places. This is also a time where you may notice anxiety, stress, or mental health issues come up. A lot of kids are diagnosed with psychosis, schizophrenia, bipolar at this age because, again, it's brain changes. It's the brain's changing, it's developing, and those fault lines may have been there from those genes years back, and maybe something that a stressful event, stress in school, something causes those fault lines to erupt, and that's what happens. A lot of these mental illnesses can begin. They're also searching for their identity, who they are, where they fit in the world. They're solidifying their values. And like I said, they will take on about 75% of your values. And they're preparing for the adult world. A lot, they're becoming more confident in what they can do well, but they still have that sense of omnipotence that, oh no, nothing bad will happen to me. That's for other people. So they still don't have that, well, what if this happens, critical thinking. But they get it when they're 19 to 25 years. That's when they're heading into their peak. And by 25 years, the brain is in peak performance. Okay, so knowing all that, what are the best ways to handle all that? Okay, first one, listen, acknowledge feelings. So feelings are everything, especially the teen years. How do you know when your teens are feeling strong feelings? Well, we know when a 2-year-old is. They're on the floor kicking and screaming. Teenagers, they go opposite. They become silent, they stomp, and they slam doors. So you still get that body language. The voice tone is silence. The words may be swearing, maybe attitude, but maybe nothing. And you get the door slam. So they are communicating something. Our job, unless they're mad at us, is not to take it personally. Let it go. Let them go up to their room. Give them about 10 minutes to calm down. And they want you to come up there and talk to them. They really do. So go up, talk to them, rub their back and say, hey, you must have had a rough day. Or you sound pretty angry. Or I'm hearing that you're not very happy about some things going on. You want to talk about it. So acknowledging how they're feeling and opening that door for them to vent. So important. We do it when they're babies, not so much when we're toddlers, but we really need to do it when they're teens too. So active listening is just trying to pinpoint what they're feeling and then a little bit about the situation and then feeding it back to them to see if they know that we are validating them. So, for example, I have a good movie. I wonder if I could show this. I hope my new computer plays my movies. Hang on a sec. Let me just check. Did I move them over even? No, I didn't. Oh, no. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, boy. I'm going to have to do that. Anyways, I have a good movie where my daughter comes home. She staged this, by the way. She comes home. She throws her backpack down, slams the door, stomps upstairs, and typical parents, I show myself yelling at her to come back and pick up the backpack. Not good, not good. Let it go. Timing is everything. So leave the backpack, let her just calm down, go up, and then start active listening. So I would go up and I would say, you seem to feel angry when you came home from school today. What's going on? And if she's not feeling angry, she'll correct you. So don't worry about that. So that's what active listening does. And what it does is it helps them calm down and problem solve. So a person with a normal intellect and emotions has a balance. But a person who is very, very, very upset and feeling big feelings, their emotions are taking over their intellect. And when you deal with the emotions so they can come out, they can cry, they can talk, then they can have their intellect back to help or come up with some problem solving. Here's some active listening response. If you're really sure of what they're feeling, you can start like this. Sounds like you're feeling. I understand how you're feeling. I see how you're feeling. If you're not sure, go in a little more gently and say, could it be that you're, I wonder if you're feeling, that kind of thing. Okay, number 2, spend time together. Now, this is not when they're in the moment of problems. This is be sure to actively schedule time together. Every Sunday night, we have game night. Every Friday night is movie night. And as they move out of the house and have more time with friends. They still cherish these times, even though they're fewer and farther between. Okay, and there's lots of ways to get together. But a celebration of rituals, we found having a family dinner or lunch or at least one meal time together a day, breakfast maybe, is really, really handy to cementing family time. But that might not work for you. And have fun, play together. A lot of families play video games together. And don't worry about video games. We could talk about that later. Okay, problem solve, don't punish. Taking away their communication lines leads to shutting down your parent-child communication line. And that is dangerous. You want to keep them safe. So do not punish. The research shows, there is no research that shows that punishment builds relationships. And that's what you need the most in the teen years, is building relationships. The majority of parents do punish though, but for the 15% of parents that do not punish, they enjoy a really satisfying relationship with their teens. I talked about punishments. It destroys communication, their emotional connection to you, their willingness to come to you for help. If they know they're going to get in trouble, they're going to keep you in the dark. Their ability to learn. If people are punished, they're under stress, and stress does not occur at the same time as learning. And it destroys your influence. You have a great amount of influence, but if you punish, you're going to lose that. And please try not to take away their computers and cell phones. We have a really good, on my website, professionalparenting.ca, under articles, there is a digital cell phone contract that is respectful and not based on punishment. So if you want to print those out, you can. They're a lot more nicer than taking away things. Okay, it's important for you to calm down and keep your calm. If your child has done something that you're really upset about, make sure you don't say anything in the moment or threaten anything. And it's important to decide what you will do, not what you will make your child do, okay? If your child goes out and has a car accident, you decide what your parameters are, what you need to have happen that it makes it better for you, and ask your child to do it. As much as possible, don't freak out, okay? You can't be really angry and punishing in one area of parenting and expect openness in the other. It doesn't work that way. Relationships don't work that way. So treat your teen as you would your partner. If you need to calm down first, do it. You can come back and work on the problem. So this is what problem solving is. It is looking at their needs and your needs, and both of you coming up with some ideas together. And then both of you choose if it meets both of your needs. And then if there's one that does, you do it. And then you say, okay, let's check back in 2 weeks. And this really, really works. Kids love it because they have a stake in it. Parents like it too because it teaches kids a valuable relationship skill. Sometimes you just have to confront children on their behavior. And confrontive iMessage is the best thing for teens and tweens. It teaches them the language of respect and assertiveness. And it's the most assertive way to get across what is happening for you. So let's say my son leaves all his pop cans in my car. And I get annoyed because I have to move them out of the way. I'm getting pop drippy on the seats. And I need to go in and confront him about that. So I would go in and I would say, I usually start with I feel part rather than this part. I feel perturbed when I see pop cans in my car and pop on the rug because, and here's the effect, here's how it affects me, because I spend my time picking them up and cleaning the carpet. It costs me money and time. So I just say that to my teen. Now he knows what to do. He knows how to fix that. He knows he should get a bag and pick those things up and clean it. And if he doesn't, I will spell it out for him. But generally he does. And it leaves him with some dignity and respect. If I don't tell him how to fix it, I just tell him what my reality is, how it's affecting me, how I feel. And when you're in a very connected relationship with your kids, they care about how you feel. They absolutely do. Unless they have needs that are stronger. But if they don't, they will work to meet your needs. And it's so amazing. Let's talk about attitude. Attitude is them not really using I messages. They tend to use more you messages. You're not my boss. I hate you. I'm not your slave. I'll do what I want. You don't love me. You don't understand. This is dumb. So these are all attitude statements, and these are all statements you want to train them into using. These are what people listen to. The attitude is not what people listen to. So when my son comes to me and he says, I can't do it, then I rephrase and I say, okay, so you don't know how to do it. Do you want some help? Or if they say, I'm not your slave, you can rephrase it and you can say, okay, what I really want to hear here is, that doesn't seem fair to me. Can you say that? And help them reword it into a more positive choice that you will listen to. So those are, why problem solve? Well, problem solving is not me against them. It's us working together against the problem. And you and your child are on the same team. Kids can learn punishment and consequences from everybody else in the world. I get that question all the time. People say, well, in the real world, they're going to learn consequences. And I say, well, yeah, let them, because you are their parent and you have a vested interest in building a relationship. The rest of the world doesn't. So they can give them consequences. But you are the only ones who will take the time and energy to teach them how to problem solve, which is good. And you've got about 6 years to do it. Here's where I was talking about how you can't have control and influence at the same time as people grow older, or if you're dealing with adults too. When your baby was born, you had 100% control. Well, maybe not over their sleep. Maybe not that. But you could dress them how you wanted. You could feed them what you wanted. You could take them visiting wherever you wanted. You had a lot of control. But see, by age 2, it's starting to lessen. Those little 2-year-olds have their own mind. And then by age 18, you have zero control, because in some provinces it's 19, but because of privacy and FOIP. So you have no control over your child. And here, 9 years old, you're halfway to adulthood here. So at that point, you're going to have to lessen your control and increase your influence. Influence grows as your child ages, and it grows with respect. You can't grow your influence if you punish your kids. And everybody knows their control is going to lessen. Everybody. We get parents coming to our workshop saying, I've lost control over my child. And we said, yeah, that's what happens. They get bigger and stronger and they know more about computers than you do. Of course, you're losing control over them. But you will never, ever lose your influence. And that's that little voice of yours in their heads that are telling them, this is what you should do. This isn't what you should do. So it's very, very good. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about that. We found in the teen years, the best discipline tool for girls was going for a coffee. Girls like to talk. And we would make a coffee date or a hot chocolate date at Tim Hortons. If something was really annoying us or we were not happy with something they were doing, we would go to Timmy's and talk about it. That was very good. For boys, get a pair of running shoes. Best tool is go for a walk. So if my son, something happened and I heard from a parent about something he did, I would say, okay, son, let's go for a walk and talk. Walk and talks. And we would. And they like it because you get exercise, they don't have to look at you, but you get a good chunk of time to talk about things and come up with some solutions. Another good tool for teens is a one-time consultation. Let's say your child's going to do something and you're not too keen on them doing it. So you go up to them and you get hired. You say, So one good example is my son was going to wear a Nazi uniform as a Halloween costume to school. And he told me that. And I said, ooh, I don't know about that. Do you mind if we just, make a date to sit down and talk about that just for an hour? And he said, yeah, okay. So then I did my homework. Then you get together your statistics, your photos, your facts, your testimonials, everything you can throw at them so that they can make an informed decision. So I did that. And then we sat down and I said, here's my concern. And I gave him all my concern in one time. That's it. If you do it more than that, it's a nag. Nobody likes nags. So present your case and then leave the decision up to the team. We also did this when my son, who graduated top of his class, decided not to go to university. We presented our case, we did a one-time consultation, and then we had to let it go. He had to make the decision, and we had to live with whatever decision he makes because he's the one who lives with it. Really, it's his problem, not ours. So, and this is really effective because kids feel empowered. They get your input, your information, your knowledge, your experience, but then they feel empowered that they get to make the decision. And oftentimes, they make a good decision. So, but believe me, it's hard. Really, really hard. This graph kind of shows it's from, I can't even see it. I think it's from Forbes magazine, but it says the skill that is most wanted by employers in millennials is problem solving. And if they can get it early on, the better. Okay, I just wanted to show you this. This is the parenting style. With babies, we have high nurturing parenting style and low expectations, of course, because, they're babies, they can't do much. As they move into toddler preschoolers, we start having more expectations, but still nurturing. A lot of authoritarian parents now tend to get into high expectations in school age years, but low nurturing. Whereas you want to put that on this side. You want school age and teenagers, again, expectations and nurturing. So that's the two components of parenting, is warmth and structure. Okay, number 4, use human touch. Yay! Don't stop hugging your kids. Both mom, dad, keep hugging your girls, your boys. They need that. They absolutely need that. Give them pats, give them, hair tussles and caresses when they're upset. I still give my kids a hug goodnight and a hug goodbye because, everybody needs 18 hugs a day. When we leave for the day, before they leave to work, we give each other a hug. And when they go to bed, and they have never said no. So that's kind of a good, important point about consent is if anyone says no to a hug or touch, you must honor that. But if they've never said no and they hug me back, so we just keep on hugging. It's so awesome. Same with my husband. He was really not very huggy, as most dads is, as their daughters are turning 13 and growing up into women. They're really hands off, but girls need to know they are loved and huggable, and they need those hugs because they model their relationships after their relationships with their dads, and they need to know that they're huggable. The last point is model and share your values. Live your values. If you give priority to FaceTime, don't be on your phone if your teen's trying to talk to you. And define your boundaries. Be a good citizen. Be the person you want them to be, because they are watching you. They really, really are. And you're going to have lots of conversations over many, many years, right? A teen will absorb a lot of what you talk about if your relationship's based on influence rather than authority. If you think about who is an influence in your life, and we all have people who are influence, and we like to model what they do and what they say. And we also have people in our lives who try and control us, and they are the people we run from. So keep in mind, your teen's going to do the same thing. Here's a good modeling one. Don't drive and use your phone, because guess what teenagers do? Screen time, again, as obviously there are no screen time recommendations for tweens and teens because everybody knows that they live on their phones. But you can have some times in your family that are tech-free. If everybody gets together, makes an agreement, and decides what are tech-free times, and then everybody honors them, you shouldn't have trouble with that. Okay, so again, the better the relationship, the stronger the parents' influence. And parents matter. You're still their biggest influence on their health, their happiness, their relationships, their future success. So you are more important than peers. Absolutely. Sure, peers are important because they have to get along in that daily rat race called school and life, but you as their parents are the most important grounding factor in their lives. And you'll never lose your influence in connected relationships. Even when your kids are 40, 60, 70, they will still come and ask advice or bounce things off on you, as you will to them too. And they will always fix your computer. Yay! Or make you a business meme. Okay, that's about all I have tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't show the videos. I'm gonna have to do that soon. I just switched computers because my old one died, so I got this nifty new one, but not everything's on here yet. So I apologize. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna kind of stop it and open it up for questions. So thank you for joining us tonight on behalf of Attachment Parenting Canada. Please recommend our Attachment Parenting Tips books, which is our fundraiser to pay for our website and things. And we hope you have a really good evening. Oh, and I should say, stay tuned for our Attached at the Heart course coming up in January. Okay, how can I? Oh, there we go.